Avatar: The Way of Water is the newest James Cameron film, and it is the sequel of the movie that came out 13 years ago. And actually, I can't believe this movie actually came out. It is impressive the time I spend waiting for the next Avatar because, contrary to popular belief, a lot of people criticize the first Avatar, but actually, I've been a really big fan since it came out. I really fell in love with this world, the characters, the action scenes. So, a sequel that was delayed a lot of times, I never expected it to actually come out. But I went to see it last week, and I gotta say, I was really impressed. There's a lot of talk about this movie, and I'm really excited to review it today because there are a lot of things about it in terms of story and in terms of technological achievements. So, without further ado, let's discuss this because there's a lot of things to talk about Avatar: The Way of Water. So, just like in real life, in this movie, many years have passed since the last Avatar movie, and there's a lot of things that have changed since then. So, in the ending of the first one, you might remember like the Navi win against the humans. They banish them back to Earth. But after all these years, they actually come back and they start causing destruction again. They start like destroying the forest, destroying the oceans, and basically like imposing their empire over the Navi people in Pandora, which is the planet from where they live. And this movie really visits a lot of the same locations of the first one in the beginning, but after that, the characters, for the safety of the family, so Jake Sully is the main character of the movie, for the safety of his kids, he has with Neytiri from the first one, he decides to go into exile to go find shelter and refuge in another world, which is basically this beautiful, beautiful location in the ocean with another species of Navi that focus on the water, and this leads to a lot of really interesting interactions and scenes. So in this new location, Jake Sully and his family try to adapt to this new world as they understand why the humans are back and how to defeat them again. And there's a lot of things that happen from the first movie that I'll get into spoilers if I explain them. So if you haven't watched the movie, skip ahead or watch it first because I'm gonna go into heavy spoilers right now. But basically, the villain of the first movie, Miles Quaritch, which I think is a great character, by the way. I think he does a great job. And he comes back as an avatar basically because they transferred his memories that were backed up into an avatar body, which is something we saw in the first one, like the way the humans transfer their, consciousness to these creatures so they can, survive in Pandora, have, they're more tall and like stronger. And he basically does that and he's looking for revenge against Jake Sully, which is something that carries the movie a lot, which is kind of nonsensical at times because the villain Quaritch goes to great lengths to try to kill Jake Sully, which is basically the main motivation behind him. Like nothing else matters, just kill Jake Sully, kill his family, try to get revenge. And that's something that does it's not really explained more than he wants him dead really bad. And he's willing to like sacrifice a bunch of people and a lot of resources in this battle against Jake Sully, and it kind of makes sense in this in the way that he is like kind of like the leader of the Navi at this point. He's very respected and he's kind of like the head of this revolution, so it makes sense in that way, but it's still, I found it funny. So in many ways the plot is very similar to the first film, which is basically kind of reduced to Navi good and humans bad, and in a way like there's a lot of battles that show and like scenes that show how terrible human beings can be. And this also carries into something that I appreciated a lot, which are the environmentalist themes in Avatar: The Way of Water. There are a lot of scenes that show like these whale creatures called the Tulkuns, which go and are basically as smart as the Navi. They're like really intelligent species. And the human beings hunt them down because of their basically some kind of brain juice that makes human beings immortal. And it shows the consequences of unregulated just destruction of the wildlife for profit. And these themes are really carried throughout the whole movie. So I appreciate James Cameron for showing these values in one of his movies and basically raising consciousness and making people more conscious about these themes that are basically an adaptation of what goes on in real life in many situations. So this is something I really appreciated a lot. So in this movie, the last 2/3 are basically spent in this region of Pandora that we had never seen before. This like system of islands that are in the ocean. And this is where the real magic of the film happens because one of the biggest selling points of Avatar is how James Cameron always pushes the limits of technology in these kind of movies. And I gotta say, he really knocked it out of the park. This movie is absolutely impressive in every way. There is not a single dull moment on screen during Avatar: The Way of Water. From the underwater scenes that were shot in real life, like I think huge pools, the way I don't know how he did it, but he actually shot these scenes underwater and made it look so well with the motion capture suits, the characters, how to interact with these like computer generated creatures that look so well. I thought every single frame during these scenes was beautiful. Like, there's many scenes that just are there to showcase how amazing this technology is, how amazing the special effects is, and I gotta say, it really met all my expectations. There was a lot of like, kind of like memes, these like articles that James Cameron published that sounded like really far fetched, basically saying like, oh, Avatar: The Way of Water is gonna impress you in so many ways that your brain is going to explode and you're going to go see it 20 times of how good it is. And these were funny in the beginning, but I honestly think it really lives up to the hype. I really enjoyed the way he basically created this universe, and he really went beyond, above and beyond, with all these kind of scenes. So these scenes extend until the last hour of the movie that showcases basically a giant battle that takes place in this kind of oceans. And I really love this. I think this, like, the action scenes during the last hour were very impressive, and especially the way the characters fight. Like all these CGI characters going against humans, and it flows really well. I think I was really entertained. The last hour went by really quick, and there was a lot of really great scenes, action sequences, and also the plot. With the characters, these like Jigsaw, these children. I think the movie makes the audience care about them enough to really make the movie worth watching. And I think like these characters are gonna go be really influential, and especially in the third, fourth, and fifth movie, which he's planning to make. And I can't wait to see more of them. I think there were really big stakes in the movie, and it really shows in a lot of places. And I really can't wait to see what happens next. Although there were a lot of aspects I liked about Avatar: The Way of Water, I still think that it was very similar to the first one in terms of the story. Like, basically, Navi good, humans bad, they fight, and that's pretty much it. So I'm really hoping that for the third, fourth, and fifth movie, we get to explore different aspects of this world, and like not just humans fighting Navi, but also explore like different concepts, like different threats in the world, different species, different civilizations on this planet. I feel like this is a very rich and beautiful world, and if the story explores those aspects, I feel like it could do a lot of great things. So yeah, I really hope to see other aspects, maybe like try to explore the human part of this world a little bit more. But yeah, I really like the way this movie basically juggles all these aspects, and it leaves a lot to think about and expect for the future movies. So I really liked Avatar: The Way of Water. As a final score, I'm gonna give it an 88 out of 100. It really did a lot of great things. It's not a perfect movie, especially with the story, but I still think it's a really great achievement. I really like this movie. It revived my love for the franchise, and I'll probably see the first one sometime soon. But yeah, anyways, I love this movie. You should probably watch it. It's really good. It's a great time, even though the length is 3 hours. I feel like those 3 hours are gonna pass really fast. But yeah, those are pretty much all my thoughts on Avatar: The Way of Water. So if you like this review, follow my other reviews, watch them, share them, like them, all that good stuff. And that'd be everything for today. So, anyways, see you guys later and have a great day.